Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, welcoming the fabulous Deana Martin. Dean Martin's daughter, how cool is that? She's joining me to talk about her new album, Swing Street. She's on tour, and we're talking all about her incredible childhood. Check it out. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade. I can't think of a cooler father to have in the history of the universe than Dean Martin. Well, I've got Deana Martin joining me in studio, and she's got a ton going on, and we're going to talk all about it. Deana, I'm so happy you could come in.
Thank you. This is fun. You got quite the setup here.
You've got quite the father here.
I do.
I was talking, I'm like, your father, I don't think he had a bad day in his life. You can't find a bad picture of him.
No, and that's how he always looked. And I remember him, I would hear the back door open, and he had taps on the heels of his shoes, and you'd hear him walk through the back door and then into the kitchen. He'd get a slice of Wonder Bread, put some butter on it, and then walk into the living room and sit down on the couch. So I just remember that, and I can't believe. But he always had a good day. That's who he was. He just looked great, and he was great.
Well, you look great, and you're great as
Thank
well.
you.
You've got a new album out, so tell me all about the new album.
I do, Swing Street, and it's amazing. And we recorded it at Capitol Records, where my dad recorded, all of his hits. And we had an unbelievable orchestra, and we had the best arrangers. We had the A-team. We had my handsome husband, John, who's my producer.
Who might be in here.
He might be here.
Got to say good things about him.
That's right. And Patrick Williams, who wrote a lot of the songs, and Chris Walden, who wrote the New York State of Mind thing, just great. So it's a fabulous, wonderful album. I even have it on vinyl.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Walk me through being the daughter of one of the most legendary performers of all time. Was it easy? Was it difficult? What was the journey like for you?
Well, I'll tell you, that was easy because he was so well liked, and he was such a nice guy. So it's fun to come home. All my friends wanted to come to our house. They didn't want to go to their house. But there was something, he was down to earth. He was natural. He was kind. And, I had 6 brothers and sisters, and so it was a crazy household. But he had his friends, Uncle Sammy and Uncle Frank, and it was quite an extraordinary life. There's ups and downs, there's marriages and divorces and kids and all of that going in and out, but for some reason he was just cool with everything, and he made us all feel loved and comfortable, and so it was a great life. Still is. Did
you have any understanding of the icons that surrounded you as a child? Like you had Frank Sinatra, you have Sammy, you have Joey. Did you have any understanding of what was going on around you?
I did, and I'll tell you the first time, I went to school with, the children of these people, so it was Desi Arnaz Jr. or Lucy Arnaz or Tina Sinatra or Tony Thomas. But so those were all of our friends, and their parents were, equally as well known as my dad. But going to Las Vegas as a little girl, sitting in the Sands Hotel, ringside, and then you'd hear the announcer say, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Sands Hotel is proud to present the star of our show, Dean Martin, direct from the bar." And then he'd walk out, right in the tuxedo with the red pocket square, and the audience around me would go, "Oh, there he is." And so I thought, oh my God, there he is. And he was my dad, and he was funny, and he sang great, and he was just charming, and he made everybody feel at home and like we were in our living room. And I said, okay, that's what I want to do. That's when I realized how incredible he was.
You mentioned that's what you wanted to do, and that was actually going to be my next question, which is when does it click for you that, hey, I want to start in entertainment, I want to build a career in the same business my dad was in?
It's interesting. I don't think that there was ever a starting point. I always wanted to do it. I was always singing and dancing and acting, and I was given piano lessons, so it was always a part of me. And so there was no, all right, I'm going to do it now. I was just doing it all my life. And thank God, my first hit record was with Lee Hazelwood, and it was a country song, Girl of the Month Club. And off I went to Nashville and did Music City, USA. And then I got into a rock and roll group, the chromium-plated Streamline Baby. We played the whiskey. And then all of a sudden I started listening to my dad's music. and the Great American Songbook. And I said, well, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to sing.
Does it make it easier having the last name that you have, or did it make it harder? Do people say, oh, that's just Dean Martin's daughter, or do they welcome you with open arms? You'd mentioned he was well-liked,
Right.
but you're carrying on a legacy now. Did it make it easier or harder for you?
I think it's about 50-50. Yes, my name opens the doors, but once I get in there, then I've got to do it. I know that just like when you walked in here and you said, I'm your Dad's biggest fan, or I know you hear it all the time. I hear it all the time. So when I would go in for interviews, the people say, we love your dad. And I say, yeah, great. And they say, now what can you do? So then I'd have to perform then. But, I think being a girl, it's different than being the son of, Dean Martin or something like that. I think it was a little bit easier for me. And I worked very hard. My dad taught us to work hard. And he said, please just don't embarrass me.
And you're still working hard. You know,
Still
we're
working
talking,
hard.
You're touring, you have specials.
Yeah.
Tell me about all this stuff you have coming up. You think you're the hardest working person in this room right now.
I think maybe I am. Well, you worked very hard.
I'm faking it, trust me.
So it's Christmas time, and I'll be going to Las Vegas to do some Christmas shows at the Smith Center on the 16th and 17th. And then it's off to Columbus, Ohio. I'll be doing a great New Year's Eve, a big New Year's Eve bash with Deana Martin. So that should be fun in Columbus with a 18-piece orchestra. And then we are working on right now, because in 2017, that would be my dad's centennial.
It's incredible.
I know. He was born June 7th, 1917. So 2017 is going to be his year. We have a documentary coming out. And we have interviewed Angie Dickinson and Tommy Tune, and we interviewed Florence Henderson. So we miss her. So I know.
What a shame. Nicest woman, by the way.
She is so nice, and she was wonderful. She was so great on the Dean Martin show when they were together. It was hysterical. But we're interviewing a lot of people, and it will be a great tribute to Dean Martin and his life, and talking to all these great actors and people who knew him. So that's going to be 2017, and then we'll have a new album coming out, Deana Sings Dino.
And you wrote a book years ago that you were telling me is now hopefully being made into a movie.
Yes, it is, and we just had our second production meeting in Burbank, California last month, and it's very exciting, and it's going to be great. It's a wonderful book, and I know people are going to love it. And Dean Martin deserves to have a fabulous movie made about him.
So they always send me the production notes and the possible questions, and one of them was, if you could identify a Rat Pack today, who would it be? And I'll look at those questions like, I'm not using that, I'm not using that, I'm not using that. I looked at my producer and I go, I really like that question. Who would today's Rat Pack be? Who do you think? I think Leo Sinatra, right? If there's a Sinatra, it's got to be Leo, right?
It's got to be Leo. It's got to be Bruno Mars. I just love Bruno Mars.
He's the best.
I mean, he's really fantastic. And and Justin Timberlake, I think, is he too old?
I don't if I'm using the model of the original Rat Pack,
Yeah.
you've got to have the
Three cool guys.
The three cool guys, but they all had kind of their own thing going. So Sinatra was the coolest. The women loved him. Mr. Swag, Mr. Mysterious, that's Leo. That's Leo.
Yeah, there you
Leo's
go.
the coolest on the planet. Then you look at the ultimate performer. Okay, Bruno. He's the Sammy Davis Jr., regardless of race, but just performer Bruno.
Yeah.
You need the cool comedian, just the dude. Who would it be? I don't know if JT fits it.
Well, I don't know, but he's awfully cute. Because we have to do some casting for this. You know what? I think people should send me a Facebook. Let me know who you think.
Yeah, we actually want to know.
Yeah.
Who do you think would be the Dean Martin of today? I'm literally, as we're talking, I'm racking my brain. Who would be the cool person? It's not like Will Ferrell. You need someone you still need someone just jolly, mysterious.
Well, I was going to say Jimmy Fallon, but he's not mysterious.
Fallon.
But he's good.
Fallon actually could be today's Dean Martin.
Because he's cool and he sings and he's funny. And all right, so maybe.
I like that.
All right, Jimmy Fallon.
So Leo, Jimmy Fallon, and Bruno Mars walk into a room. We'll let you continue the show.
That's good. Excellent.
How about casting for the movie? When you start looking at the movie, who would you want to see play Sinatra? Your dad, Sammy, all the good guys.
Well, we can't. I do not want impersonators. All
Yeah,
right?
no,
No, you know, I want
no.
good actors and, well, first of all, you know, who's a good friend of mine who wanted to do the movie is Joe Mantegna.
That guy's
And, you know,
awesome.
he is awesome, and he's a good guy. But we need and don't listen to this, Joe, we need a young Dean Martin. And so I think what we'll do is a nice big casting call.
I like
and
when they
see-
find unknown.
Yeah.
I love when, like, a great example we're seeing with Han Solo right now.
Yes.
They found Alden Ehrenreich, who, you know, is becoming a big name, but he was kind of plucked out, and this is going
Right.
to make him an even bigger name. But I love when they find the actors that are not stars yet, and they pluck them into these roles.
Exactly, and I think that because I don't want anyone having any kind of preconceived ideas of what it should be or you know, the moves and everything. I want a good actor because it has to be respectful to my father and all of them. You know, I mean, they're all legends there. So it's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun.
You know what I like is there's so many times when you're the child of a well-known celebrity, so many of those children run away from that legacy. They say, I don't want to be Brad Pitt's child, or I don't want to be, and I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there. You embrace it. Was that something that you just were comfortable with early on, that, hey, I'm Dean Martin's daughter, I enjoy it?
I do enjoy it, and mainly because he was so great, you know, and he was down to earth, and he taught us well. But there was something, the way we were brought up, it never occurred to me that that would be a bad thing. You know, we always respected him. All of the kids, we were very respectful of him, and, you know, he was the dad in the house, and we really never did anything wrong because we didn't want to get in trouble. We didn't want to disappoint him. And that's how we were brought up. He taught us to treat people the way you wanted to be treated, and, you know, just be kind. And then he taught me, he said, Nadina, learn all your lyrics, arrive on time, which I didn't today, but it was raining.
No,
and you know,
in New York with the rain, if you're within an hour, you're on time.
okay. So he taught us, you know, show up on time, don't be a pain in the neck, know all your lyrics, sing from your heart, and you'll be fine. So I just always knew there was something about my dad that was so great, and who's going to ever get bigger than Dean Martin? So I embrace him, and he was amazing.
How would you like to be remembered? When one day your children or somebody's talking about you, what do you want them to say about Deana Martin?
I'd like them to say that she left you know, a beautiful family and made wonderful memories for us and brought back old memories. And my music will live on. And I just want them to have a smile on their face when they're listening to my music, because that's the most, music touches your soul. And this will last forever.
Final question. You mentioned something that hit on something with the American Songbook. When we look at performers, whether it's your generation, your father's generation, there was such an appreciation of that style of music, of staying with history and making it better. Do you like where music is moving right now? That I feel like we're moving away from that spectrum, and now it's all about EDM and synthetics and creation. Do you like it?
You know, if I'm doing an aerobics class or something, do they do aerobics classes anymore? I don't know.
It's like bar and
Yeah, yeah.
Pilates and every exotic thing you can think of.
I hit the treadmill. The music, for me, when I get a new album or something, if I'm downloading something, all the songs sound the same. You know, if you listen to one of my albums, all the songs are different, the arrangements are different. It's not all the same. And I'm sorry that people are getting away from that, but there are a lot of artists who are, you know, who are good singers and who are, you know, maybe doing right by music. But for me, I love the standards, and I love great arrangements, and I love good musicians and good arrangements and good. It's just there's something about real live music with people playing really fabulous instruments and being on stage and performing.
What is it? I lied. That wasn't a final question. This is really the final question. Presence on stage. I think, you know, when you look at your dad, you look at Frank, you look at performers, what you have to have, it's something you can't teach. You either have it, I feel like, or you don't. Would you agree?
I agree. And there's something that it is, but you have to communicate with your audience. And that's something that I learned from Dad and Uncle Frank and Uncle Sammy.
Did he teach you that? Would he say, this is how you have to act on stage? This is how you make the audience put them in the palm of your hand?
You know, not that he would teach me that. It's just he did it by example. And we got that. And I just think, you know, he was so cool. and all the people that were on the Dean Martin show. And the way he was, and he would just stand there and people would come in and he would sing with all of them, and he was natural and relaxed, and he would leave in the mistakes. And so that was something, you know, it's like just bring the people in and talk to them and just have a good time. So I think it's just instinct that I have. It's in my DNA, and I learned from the very best.